Welcome back, bakers and all you pastry makers. Today, we're gonna have some fun with custard. It's one of my favorites, and I just use a basic ratio, tweak some things to whatever I'm making. Custard's kind of a fundamental in the pastry kitchen, and I'm gonna show you how to take this one ratio and turn it into different desserts just by changing the cooking method. So let's get baking. Egg is the base of all custards, so I like to equal that to 1 part. Then we add some liquid, so we're gonna go with 4 parts, half and half. A little sugar for sweetness. We'll equal that to the egg, so we got another 1 part. That leaves us with 4 parts liquid, 1 part egg, 1 part sugar. And that's your basic ratio. This ratio is so versatile, you can flavor it almost any way you like. Today, we're keeping it simple with just some vanilla. Let's get our half and half in a pot with half the sugar. Just eyeball it, it doesn't need to be perfect. We're gonna get that on the stove and heat it up. While that's heating, we're gonna take the other half of the sugar and whisk it up with our eggs. Now that our liquid's hot, we're gonna stream it into our eggs while whisking continuously. But make sure you got a big enough bowl to hold everything. Strain out your vanilla bean, then we're gonna pour it into our heat-safe dishes. I got a few options here. Got a standard ramekin, creme caramel, a mini Dutch oven, which I thought would be perfect for pot de creme, and then your classic creme brulee. And if you have some old bread, you can soak that in there too. Have a nice warm bread pudding. When baking your custard, you're gonna need a larger baking dish. Fit it all so that you can make a water bath and cover that with tin foil. You don't need much water, just enough to cover the bottom, create a nice steam in there. The Dutch oven, it has its own lid, so you don't even need to cover that if that's all you're using. You're gonna wanna bake this at 325. Timing will vary based on your oven, how much water you added. For me, the thin creme brulee took about 20 minutes. The other ones took almost 40. But that's because the amount of liquid, how tall, how wide. So check it earlier rather than later. When it's done, it'll set like a soft jello. You'll get a jiggle in there, but you'll see it's not liquidy. Kind of like this. Now we're gonna set that in the fridge to chill. Well, pot de creme and creme brulee are essentially the same custard. It's just how you present them makes the difference. Pot de creme, smooth and delicious, you can basically serve as is. Throw a few berries on top, you're good to go. Creme brulee, on the other hand, you need that nice hard crack of sugar on top. So we're gonna pour sugar, shake it around, get rid of the excess. I like to use turbinado. It has bigger crystals, but they melt easier. Just works better for me. But regular sugar will work too. Torch that to a nice amber, a hard crack, you're good to go. Well, we have some baked custards. Now let me show you some pourable ones. You're gonna take that same ratio, heat the milk, temper the eggs, but this time, pour about half the liquid into the eggs and go back into the pot and whisk constantly. Bring it back to the heat and cook it till it's thick. We're gonna heat this to about 175. If you don't have a thermometer, you can tell by dragging your finger across the back of the spatula. If you make a line and it doesn't run down, then it's done. They call this nappe. At this point, we can chill it down in an ice bath to bring the temperature down quickly. Even better than a vanilla sauce, it's vanilla ice cream. So yeah, we're gonna run some of that creme anglaise in the ice cream machine. Ice cream is really just a frozen stirred custard. Temperature does all the work. And I love eating this right now, like a soft serve, but we gotta get that in the freezer to set up to real ice cream. Should be about 8 hours. So with that one ratio, we just made 4 items. So simple, so sweet. That's why I love it. But there's other things you can play around with too. I already mentioned bread pudding. What about creme caramel? That one stands alone, so I like to double the egg on that. Or if you remove the sugar, still double the egg, make a quiche. You don't want to think of this as a recipe. It's more like a spectrum. You adjust around to what you like, see how things work. So once you understand custards, your recipe stops being something that you memorize, starts being something that you create. Change the egg, change the method, change the heat, and you got an entirely new dessert. Adapt to your style. As we continue down this journey of baking and pastry, I'm going to break down each one of these custards step by step and tell all my favorite flavors and variations. So let me know if you have a favorite flavor or variation in the comments below. That way I know what people want to see. Until then, just keep baking.